Okay.
Okay, I got a bunch of juicy trivia and facts about this movie. Really cool stuff. Well, we know the name of it. 1999 movie about his trip in 1994. 240 miles across from Lawrence, Iowa to Mount Zion. Well, I guess we both knew that, or we all knew that. It was a critical success, though, it didn't do all that well at the box office. Roger Ebert compared the realistic dialogue to Ernest Hemingway's writing and also gave it a 4 stars. It got the, I don't know how to pronounce this, gold palm in English, Palme d'Or at the Cannes. And what's his first name? Farnsworth?
Richard.
Richard Farnsworth was nominated for Best Actor.
Jeez.
And at that point, it made him the oldest actor ever nominated for an Academy Award and that lasted until 2021 when Anthony Hopkins was nominated at the age of 83. Okay. The cyclists, the cycle tour going by, that's called Ragbray. The Register's Great Bicycle Ride Across Iowa. Every year in the fall, they bicycle from the western border of Iowa to the eastern border. And it is the largest bike touring event in the world. So that was a lot of bicyclists. Okay, Mary Sweeney, who is a longtime partner of David Lynch and collaborator, she saw the story, and she grew up in Michigan. Let me minus my screen here. And she said this: growing up in Wisconsin, I easily connected with that kind of stoic, nonverbal, stubborn, idiosyncratic American character. I get how hard it is to have quiet pride and dignity when you're old and poor and are living in the middle of nowhere. I understand what these people's dreams and frustrations are, and I loved how much his journey captured the national imagination. So, wearing the producer's hat, she secured the rights. Let me bring my Zoom back up here. All right, what are we doing here? Okay, then Farnsworth was reluctant initially to take the role because he was terminally ill with metastatic prostate cancer. But he admired Strait so much that he took the role anyway. And during the filming, the cancer had spread to his bones. That's why his legs were so stiff when he was getting on and off his riding lawnmower. But let me tell you, my arthritis makes me just as stiff and slow. I'm telling you, I was going, man, is he acting? I was like wondering, like, he's really doing some good acting there, but it was real. He committed suicide a year after the movie came out. What, with a gun? Was it a gun? I didn't know. It didn't say in Wikipedia what it was. Okay. Then another thing. Wait a minute. As far as
a question, who committed suicide, Farnsworth or Alvin Strait?
Farnsworth with the prostate cancer. Gotcha. Killed himself. Yeah, not Farnsworth. Yeah, sorry to make that clear. Just a little side note, Sissy Spacek, Rose, I didn't ever know this, had been a longtime friend of David Lynch and had helped him finance Eraserhead.
Wow.
Interesting connection there. I never heard about that. Okay, now what this term independently means, I don't know, but it was filmed independently along the actual route taken by Strait, and it was shot in chronological order in the fall of 1998. Lynch called it my most experimental movie, and it's the only David Lynch film to ever get a G rating. So, kind of interesting stuff there. So, all right. What do you guys think?
This hit home with me. I mean, I grew up in a community of 1,200 or 1,500 people out in the wilds of Northwest Missouri, and I could relate to people like this. I mean, that wasn't that much of a stretch. And Farnsworth did an amazing job. I didn't know what kind of cancer he had, but he died a year after this movie. So I knew it was something fairly severe.
Yeah, so 80's only 10 years away for most of us.
Thanks
20
for
for
that.
G, 20 for G Jeff, but but I don't feel that old.
My wife and I watched this together either yesterday or I think Saturday. I love the movie. Obviously, well, maybe not obviously, it brought tears to both of our eyes. It was quite a moving story. The fact that it's true makes it more compelling, I think. My favorite line in the movie was when I forgot who he was talking to. Oh, when they were when the bicyclists had pulled over for the night at the bicycle camp, and somebody asked him what the toughest part of getting old was. He said, the toughest part of getting old is remembering when you were young. I thought that was a fantastic line in the movie. And to me, I mean, I think we all waited to meet the brother. You know, at least we were curious what the hell the brother was going to be like, the one that had a stroke. When they finally meet from a distance, when he's walking up to his porch, and they do a close up of Harry Dean Stanton's eyes after he finds out that his brother just rode 240 miles on a tractor at 5 miles an hour, and his eyes start to well up with tears. I thought that was a brilliant moment in that movie. I thought that particular instant just spoke volumes. So my wife and I enjoyed the movie very much, very much.
Yeah, I'm sure we were all wondering what was going to happen when they finally met.
Yeah.
And I had forgotten that it was Harry Dean Stanton. And then, but did you notice that his was the first name to come up
I did
in the credits?
I did.
So top billing doesn't mean you have the most lines of dialogue. He only said one sentence.
I mean,
did you write that all the way here to see me or something like that?
You know, I mean, if I think we all thought about during the course of the movie, what was that reunion going to be like? What was the reaction going to be? I mean, clearly Alvin was ready to bury the hatchet and make amends, but we didn't know what his brother was going to do. But when they showed him start to almost be moved to tears when he realized what his brother had done, that to me was that was a phenomenal scene.
I thought it was interesting when he yelled out, Lyle, and Lyle answered back, Alvin, and recognized his voice, 10 years later.
Sure.
Through the door.
Yeah.
It was interesting to read about Farnsworth's history, that he had been a stuntman for many years and only really started seriously acting until he was in his 40s. But he's nominated for 2 Academies, I think, over the course of that time. They just finally realized that this guy can really act. Doesn't have to be falling off a horse, but he was the stuntman for some really big stars earlier in his life. That was amazing to me.
Was some of the Westerns in like the 40s and 50s?
Yeah.
Stuff like that, or 60s?
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I think he is like from the Western genre,
He was great in The Natural as the assistant coach.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, he's in The Natural.
He was the assistant coach to Rumford, whatever that actor with the big mustache. He was the assistant assistant coach on that baseball team. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wilford Brimley.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. The two of them. Yeah, I thought he was so authentic. He's an actor's actor. I mean, he was just so authentic that it was like you were watching a documentary almost, because it's like, where does Richard Farnsworth stop and that's Alvin start? You know, it was, you're right. It was emotional. I love it. The pace was so perfect because it matched what he was doing. You know, that going there. Now, here's a question I have for all of you. When you're, so when the guy said, see, here was my thought anyway. His brother had a stroke, right? Am I right there? This is the first time I saw the movie, so but I believe his brother had a stroke. Was that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So when he has gone all those miles and the guy says, I'll drive you to Wisconsin, and he said, I have to do this my way. My question was, your brother had a stroke. Serious, not serious. Why wouldn't he? And I suppose that's the movie, but why wouldn't he take it? Why didn't he take it? I mean, I kind of understand to that point. And then to me, it was like, yeah, how many more days is it going to take you to get there? And who knows what's going to happen to your brother? I mean, that was my question. That was my only question.
I read, sorry, Pete, but I read a quote from Mary Sweeney, David Lynch's, I don't know, partner and collaborator. And she grew up in Wisconsin, and she said she knew about the idiosyncratic, stubborn, and stoic nature of people and their frustrations and dreams stuck in the middle of nowhere. So it's part of the character, you know, of being out there where, you know, life is slow out there. It's not fast paced where, oh, I got to get there or he's going to die sort of thing. It's like, I don't know if that ever crossed his mind, but that maybe explains it. Just the character of the people, you know.
Yeah, well,
exactly. I'm just gonna say that was his character, and whether he's driving cross country to see his sick brother, or going to the grocery store, or working on his tractor, he does it his way. His way is his way. It may not be the best way or the right way or the most expedient way, but it's his way, and that's just how it is.
Yeah,
I think too, Donna, that he didn't want to be beholden. And you know, there's that one scene where he's talked on the guy's cell phone, and then he gives him $3 in the phone back.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, it's all the
and
points.
so he's like, "No, I got to do this my way," you know, because
he won't take any charity whatsoever, and he considers anything that he's not doing himself, you know, maybe charity or whatever. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I can see. I just remember, I don't know. I just remember going, ugh. I mean, I could see his character obviously is this character that, you know, that recognizes, you know, life and death and family, and he needs to get there. It was just a question that had popped up when that happened. It popped up, but then we wouldn't have a movie if he didn't do that. So
and I think the reason there was no sequel is he did let somebody take him back and haul the lawnmower back. So.
He flew back, right?
Yeah,
cargo plane, and they took the whole thing.
That's.
I want to talk about Behind Bill, the scene that was when he's in the bar where he meets the fellow veteran. To me, that was the most touching part of the story.
Yes.
The Harry Dean Stanton thing was very interesting, but it was so short. Yeah, I was expecting a little bit more for some reason. You know, I thought there was going to be some kind of wrapping up of everything, but it was just, you did all that? Wow. And then that was it, you know. But the scene Behind Bill, I thought, was the one that really got me, where he's talking to a total stranger, but they know exactly what they're talking. Yep. They can see it in each other's eyes. They can see it in the way they're talking. Mm-hmm. And then he, you know, blubbers out his version of what it was like to to kill somebody, and he didn't know if it was the right thing to do or not, you know. And to have that haunt you the rest of your life, you might need to sit on a tractor as you go across 4 states.
Yeah.
Ponder that. So I think that kind of added to that aspect of it, that he didn't owe anybody anything except maybe this guy he killed for no good reason, you know, and he can't outlive that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's in this movie, violence was only alluded to, except when he shot his Reds riding lawnmower with the shotgun. and those two things, that's, you know, major PTSD. Friendly fire, you know, being the person who kills, you know, one of your own troops, and survival syndrome, survival guilt. You know, what the guy, he went out of the tent and it got firebombed while he was out, and all of his buddies died in there and he survived.
Yeah.
So
I was kind of waiting for somebody to give him a hard time. I don't know why. I just
To
I'm
get
not
what?
sure how realistic it was that everybody was so friendly, and you know, no cops even hassled him, or you know, it was just.
Oh.
I think
that was what was
too
so
cynical.
refreshing about it for me, was that, you know, it was a movie about people helping each other. I mean, and there wasn't any of that.
That's what I mean. I don't know. No, I'm not from the Midwest. I don't know how friendly the people are back there.
Yeah, farm
Out
communities.
here, that probably
pretty
wouldn't have gotten
friendly.
Yeah, farm communities, there's a lot of help your neighbor kind of stuff. And I think that spills over to a stranger who's not acting like an ass, you know. If
Right.
it's somebody who kind of seems like a real guy and he's driving a John Deere and he's going across country in this sad looking trailer, you know, they cotton to somebody like that very quickly. And I think that was realistic.
What if it had been a Kubota instead of a John Deere?
I don't know. It might have been different. You know, that reminded me a little bit of Lonesome Dove, when Tommy Lee Jones had to take his buddy back all the way back to Texas by himself after he had died, because he promised him he'd bury him at this particular spot. And he came across all sorts of things on the way, and people laughed at him as he was going by. And there's that crazy guy that's taking his friend back, you know. And it just brought that back to me. I don't know how.
Yeah, it's kind of, it's similar.
Yeah, in a way. But yeah, he just
Easy
decided to
Rider,
take
you know, they ran into all kinds of problems and ultimately got killed. So,
By the way, I know you guys read the filmographies and all that. I don't know if you happen to notice or pick up on the fact the guy that owned the John Deere dealership that sold him to use John Deere was the lead in one of the first movies I recommended as a member of this club, Quest for Fire. He was the main caveman in Quest for Fire, Everett McGill.
Really? Oh no.
Who went to school in Kansas City, by the way.
So I don't know how many David Lynch movies you guys have watched, but as I was watching it, I'm going, yeah, I could see David Lynch all over this movie, and I can't really spell it out so much. First of all, he loves fire, and I don't know if that fire drill, you know, when it's where his freewheeling down the hill, he finally safely stops in front of the fire drill. But David Lynch loves fire. I don't know if that actually happened or not in the story. It wasn't made clear in Wikipedia whether everything in the movie was something that actually happened or not. But there was just a feel about what?
When he shot that old the Reds riding lawnmower, and that thing blew up really fast.
Yeah.
Wasn't one of his daughters very severely burned in a fire?
Whose daughter?
Farnsworth, Alvin.
Oh,
it's something about
one of Rose's kids.
He had seven kids, and Sissy Spacek was smart, but she had expressive problems. But he talked about one daughter who was caught in a house fire, I think, and was badly burned. So fire had played
it would have been one of his grandkids. It was one of Rose's kids.
Yeah, okay, that's right. Yeah, I guess that's right.
Oh, and the state took the kids away from her.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
when
That's another big thing. He and his wife had 14 kids
yeah, yes.
and only
Yeah.
7 survived.
Yeah.
Wow.
I had relatives like that. My grandfather, his family was 14 kids. And
Jeez.
I went to visit the youngest one when he was in his early 90s. He was about 93, and he had prostate cancer. And
My-
I have to tell you the story. He lived, it was a homestead, and so he was given this farm when he was born, and he worked it his whole life down in Missouri, Arkansas area. And he and his wife were sitting on their front porch, no air conditioning. It's 100 degrees in the summertime, and they're busting snap beans in the shade. This little shotgun house, didn't have a lick of paint on it, left after whenever it was built. And his name was Roscoe. And I said, Roscoe, these days they've got medicine that, things you can do. And it's not always a death warrant when you get prostate cancer. He goes, yeah, I know. I went to see the doctor, and he said he wanted to do an operation. He wanted to do chemotherapy. He wanted to do radiation. And I said, if I do all your medicine, will I die when I'm supposed to? And he said, we don't know. There's no guarantee. And he goes, well, then the hell with you. And that's what he did. He died 3 months later. He just told him, if you don't believe in it, why should I go through all that?
Exactly. Especially at that age, really.
Yeah. He was 93 and his wife was 97.
Yeah.
Her daughter had to come pick her up from town because she had never had a driver's license. She had never driven a car. They got their water from a well and a pump out in the front yard, So yeah, I've got a little bit of that in my family. 14 kids. You should see the Holy Bible with everybody's names on it.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of them, and the way he did that, I mean, he said there were 14 and 7 of them survived, and he was talking about Rose, and Rose had 4 kids, and 2 of them didn't make it. That was just in those days. I say those days, whatever that is, turn of the century and the early part of the century.
Right.
You didn't always make it through childbirth. On my mother's side of the family, she was the 3rd child, and her mother died giving birth to the 4th.
Yeah.
So it
happens a lot. Still happening.
You go to an old cemetery, there are a bunch of graves of infant children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys get the historical deal at the Catholic Church that Marquette, 2 of Marquette's men were buried there? I don't know if you remember from high school American history, Marquette and Joliet, one of the first explorers from France.
Oh yeah,
coming up the Mississippi and then going, I think they came on the Ohio and then on looking for fur and everything. So that was pretty cool. Marquette, 2 from the Marquette deal.
But to go back to your point, Terry, I think this movie was just made for David Lynch. As I was watching it, I'd never seen it before. He loves quirky characters, folks that speak their mind, people that have stories that they don't tell everyone. You could just run down a whole list, and Farnsworth and Strait fit right into the whole thing there.
Yeah, the other part of the quote by Mary Sweeney was afterwards, and it said when he read the script, he said, when I read the script, it became very, very real to me. Whatever that means.
See, that's
very, very real.
Interestingly, what I came out of it is I thought how how diverse a director Lynch is. See, I didn't think, I was kind of shocked that this was a David Lynch movie, because usually, at least my experience of his movies are just so, weird or off the wall or whatever. And this one was so real that's what I mean, I was just more amazed at how good a director David Lynch is, because he could do any kind of genre. That's what was so interesting to me.
Yeah. So another part of the blurb I read out was that he calls it his most experimental film.
Really? Wow.
Whatever that means. I mean,
yeah,
kind of a cryptic statement is like, what?
Yeah.
So yeah, what about the two brothers that fixed his lawnmower?
I know.
Twins.
That was comedy.
Tweedledee.
Yeah.
Twin
Dumb and
Peaks
Dumber.
right there.
Yeah. But you know what it is? I think what Mike, what you said is that it seems, at least my experience, and of course everyone has their own experience, is that when something happens and when somebody needs help, people are willing to help. I truly do believe, I know my Pollyanna's coming out, the people genuinely are good. Most people are good. And when someone needs a hand or help or whatever, people will help them. I mean, my experience has shown me that, and in many different situations. So I just didn't feel that it was strange that those people helped him at all. I thought that that's what I just thought that's what anybody, certainly in the Midwest, would do. They would help anybody, if they needed help.
I agree with that. I think, philosophically, I think by and large people are good. It's just they're not the ones that make the news every night.
Exactly. If it bleeds, it leads. Right.
I think people are scared sometimes now to stop and help because there's so much weirdness out there.
True.
Well, that is true. I mean, you hear it. Yeah, you're right.
You don't see very many people hitchhiking these days.
Nope.
Back in the early 70s, where there'd be like hitchhikers on every on-ramp and off-ramp.
And women and men, it didn't matter. You still hitchhiked. But
by the way, I'm here in Portland. This is my 50th anniversary of hitchhiking from Clinton, Arkansas to LA to Portland.
Wow.
And back. Not by the same route. I came across the northern route, but I first came to Portland in 1973.
Wow.
With my backpack and $40 cash.
Oh.
I made the whole way back. I only had to borrow $5, and the Northtown guys might know Kim Christensen. I borrowed $5 from him in Colorado to make it back to Kansas City via Lincoln. I came up and came across on 80 to Lincoln, and then down back to Arkansas, actually.
Did anybody notice how many days it took for him to make this trip?
Well, he made one reference, I think, when he stopped at where he spent the night in the guy's garage or whatever. He'd already been on the road 5 weeks. That line was in the movie there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Well,
so
240 miles.
Maybe how many more miles did he have to go from that town? I wonder. So.
Yeah,
that
might have been.
I mean,
and that guy was telling him the hills get steeper on the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the other thing. Yeah.
And that's what I was going to say. One time I rode my bike from Kansas City to Lawrence, and not off the main highways or anything like that. It was so bumpy. I mean, I know people do it all the time, but I'm not like a professional biker or anything, but it can be pretty difficult to be on the shoulders of those roads. You got trucks flying by you and all that.
Yeah, I noticed he had nice wide shoulders in a lot of the space along a lot of the route.
Well, in the Midwest, they've got room for highways. That's one reason.
They do.
They can put 6 lanes in anywhere, just about.
Did you see what I sent when I sent out the deal last week? I ran across a kind of a description, and it said that it's based on a true story, and that's about all they were going to say about that, because there were lots of inaccuracies in there. But I mean, just the same, it was a good tale. I thought.
So you're saying that not everything that happened actually happened?
Well, that's
Or-
kind of how they put it. Yeah, that it was. They took a lot of liberties and how they put it together and all that. But hey, when don't they? You know?
Yeah.
True.
So maybe that's why the fire team practicing on the putting out the fire of the house.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know why I'm drawn to say this. I hope I'm not narcissistic or showing off my knowledge or whatever. But do you guys know? Has anybody ever heard of what a fasci is, or a fasci? A fasci, which is where the term fascism comes from.
That sticks, isn't
Okay.
it?
What?
Isn't that the bundles of sticks? Isn't that?
Right. The first ones, when the Romans would march into a place, they would have a big execution axe surrounded in a bundle of sticks, all tied together. And it was like, you do what we say, or we're going to chop off your head. And that's where authoritarian fascism, that's where that word comes from. It's everything's around the central authority, the authority figure. So, so that's where that term comes from. I don't know if you've ever seen remember did anybody watch Rome by any chance? That back in the early
I watched a few episodes of it.
Yeah, well, there's one part where Augustus is what's his name? I forget. When the young guy takes over, and the guards there, they've got these long, thin fasces, and they like stomp them on the ground. It's like they're holding these bundles of sticks. So
no, I didn't know.
The term comes from.
Good to know.
Authoritarian government.
Good trivia question. Yeah.
All set for Jeopardy now.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll take fascism for 400. Okay.
What was the funniest scene in the movie? The scene with the brothers was pretty funny, and the scene of shooting the tractor was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Oh, how about the lady sunning herself right at the beginning of the movie?
Oh God! Oh yes. Oh
Beached
my
whale,
God.
yeah.
Eating a donut and drinking.
Yeah. Oh God.
That was definitely David Lynch. That was pure Lynch there.
Yeah. Yeah. That was.
Had to go get another donut or something.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, you guys were mentioning how it felt like a David Lynch movie, and it really did. I mean, I thought, I was noticing some of the thematic music that would be in the background. That was a part of it, to me, and the way they would cut scenes from far away, looking over the city, down to more closer. Those were all kind of things that would carry over into, or had carried into this movie. Actually, I mean, this is one of his later movies. His filmography shows that he only did about 10 movies, but he did about 20 TV shows, and he did about 20 documentaries. He did about 30 commercials. He was in about 10 movies. So I mean, I didn't realize that about David Lynch, that he had a incredible breadth to all the things that he did.
Talking about where the movie might have departed a little bit from what actually happened. My wife had heard about this story. She watched it. She watched some series called Mysteries at the Museum. I forgot what channel it's on, and where that's on Hulu.
Yeah.
And they one of the episodes was about this situation, and it had pictures and talked to I guess a curator or whatever of the museum where this guy's tractor is on display.
Oh my.
So she talks about some of the facts, and I think there perhaps was some liberties taken but if you check it out on Hulu, Mysteries at the Museum, there is an episode about Alvin Strait and his sojourn across country.
That's so Midwest too, to have a museum where his tractor would be,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also with a
that
big
is
ball
true.
of twine.
Ball of yarn, or yeah. or butter or something,
Like
yes.
rubber
Tallest
bands.
corn stalk they ever had there.
Yeah,
Aluminum,
yeah.
aluminum foil. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah,
There you go.
yeah.
Oh, that reminded me, you said corn. Remember when the truck went by with a giant corn cob on it?
Yeah.
It had to be
That's
just
so
a lucky
Iowa.
thing. Yeah.
That looked like a ledge thing there, where he just threw that in there.
I think
Well,
that probably
isn't-
drove
there
him
is-
past, and that
there
he just said,
is-
"We got to catch that. Come back here and let us film you."
Right. There is I think, I want to say Ohio, but I'm not sure exactly. And it is a sculpture that is about, I'm bad with that. I'm going to say 20 feet tall, maybe more, that is just corn. I mean, it's a corn cob that is just standing in the middle of this field of well, there's other ones there too, but it's just corn cob, and yet every kernel of corn is different, so that every corn cob in this sculpture field in the middle of nowhere in Ohio is different kernels of corn in this cement or whatever, I believe it's cement, but whatever the material is, of corn cobs. I remember seeing that in Ohio thinking, this is so strange. Midwest again. No, it wasn't a museum. It was out in the fields, and I don't know. I have no idea.
I thought you were going to say this is just so corny.
Boom, boom. But it was corny, yeah. Yeah, that's
So
yeah, the Midwest has some strange things.
The KC guys know this, but there used to be a show on the public television station called Rare Visions and Roadside Attractions. And they would just take off driving and pull over when they saw the giant ball of twine, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well, you guys, Kansas City guys, what about the big Hereford on the bluff overlooking the stockyards?
Yeah.
I mean, how big was that sucker? It's not still there, is it?
I don't think so. No, because they moved that was that the Hereford Association that was in that building?
I don't know.
I think they
Something
moved
like
up by
that,
the
yeah.
airport. They left the cow behind, or the Hereford behind.
Isn't there some place that makes baskets, and they have the world's largest basket? It's someplace in the Midwest. I've seen it. It's a particular type of basket. You would probably know, or your wife might know, a type of basket, and they're very popular, and I think they're still made.
And that's like a multi-level marketing kind of a thing. They sell those, like people have home parties and sell those. I know I can't put my finger on the name of that. You're right. They're very expensive baskets.
Longaberger or something like that.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Right.
That's exactly what
yeah,
it is.
and then don't they have this huge basket in front of I guess it must be the manufacturing or whatever, the firm. And it's like, again, this huge basket that has no bearing on anything other than it's a basket company, so Midwest, that's the Midwest.
Like the big.
What about the poor lady that hit 14 deer in 7 weeks or something?
No, that was great.
That was the funniest
great.
scene.
That
That's what I
was
was
the
thinking
funniest
about.
scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
She was all shaky and stuff.
Do you know?
Oh my
I
God.
don't want to get in my car again.
I prayed to St. Christopher. I prayed to, I've done everything. I played loud music out the windows to scare him away. Yeah.
Terry,
I know.
He
It
was
so
pumped.
funny.
What?
Yeah,
you know how Alvin Strait died?
Suicide. Oh no, Alvin Strait. No,
I just looked it up. He died in 95, it looks like, but he attempted to ride his lawnmower to Sun Valley, Idaho, and he never made it out of Iowa because he
died on the tractor.
No, he came back and he made it to a hospital, but he died in the hospital. He hit a. Let's see if they give
You
it.
hit a deer?
No, he hit cold weather.
Oh, well, that could do it. That could do you in too.
Yeah.
In
Yeah,
Iowa,
really.
that might be 40 below or something.
Yeah,
Northern Iowa. Who
exactly.
knows?
Well, how old was he in our story?
73, wasn't it?
73.
I mean, which,
70
I
something,
think,
yeah.
I remember that.
He died at age 76, it says, from that. So he didn't give up on his adventures. He was,
I guess not.
yeah. I mean, Idaho.
Jeez.
He would have been
Wow.
better off.
That would have
hitchhiking
been a
like
hell of a
yours.
trip.
You got a few hills over there too.
Yeah.
Well,
Good
even in
pick,
the
good
wrong
pick.
year, riding across there in October could
Yeah.
get
Oh.
sketchy if you had an early winter coming on.
Yeah.
I would say he was probably a pretty hard-headed fellow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
All
just
right.
liked it because there was no, none of the bang, bang, shoot 'em up, all that kind of stuff. And basically people were just being nice.
Yeah.
So that's what I liked about it. And I just looked it up, I was wondering, what's that movie about that guy? And then when I saw it was from David Lynch, I go, okay, I've got to pick that one. I think,
Yeah.
got to watch that again. And it's like, so.
Who's the next pick?
Who is the next?
I think me, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's what we said last week, right?
Yeah. So,
Was it time?
No.
Well, yeah, it's 5:45, so.
we could do it. I have looked at a few movies, and I think I want to recommend. I don't think we watched this before. The Piano.
Right, we have
good
not.
one.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a good one.
And it won. There were 3 Academy nominees and 2 won, I think. And it was a big commercial success, and it was a big, very popular movie. And the story is kind of intense. It's about a mute woman who's a great piano player, and she and her daughter, who's Anna Paquin, her first role when she was 11, are kind of stranded on this island. They've been the piano player has been sold by her dad, I guess, to a guy out in the sticks someplace, and so it's the interactions with them, and then this. I think Harvey Keitel is another main character in the movie, and so it looks attractive. I think I might have watched it a long, long time ago, but not enough to remember it. So I hope everybody enjoys it.
Just remember the hole in the stocking.
I
That's the
don't.
most memorable scene for me, the hole in the stocking.
I don't remember it that well. Just FYI, you guys, I'm going to a celebration of life in Chicago tomorrow. I leave tomorrow, and I probably am not going to be here for the Piano, although I remember liking the movie. I don't remember it that well, but I do remember liking it when it came out. But I probably won't be able to. If I can, I will try, but there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. So I don't think I'll make it next week. Sorry.
What year was
What?
What year was the Piano made?
93, I think.
Well, that what Donna's talking about, it does kind of, after all, she is D.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who would be next since Donna won't be here?
Is that where we hit the M's?
Do we go D, M?
Bill, you've already done yours, right?
Yep.
What's Chris's last name?
Pearson.
With a P.
That's after the M's.
So,
So I might have to pick the pianist then when my turn comes around.
I thought about that one too, but we'd seen a movie kind of like that in a certain way, where survival of a Jewish person in World War II.
Right. It's still a good movie. I really like that movie, and Adrian Brody got the Academy Award for that.
Right.
Yeah.
He's good.
In the Piano?
I can do the week after if you guys don't mind. I'll just jump in after next week. right?
Yeah, or you
Well,
could,
That's
you
what I
could,
did.
you could send it along.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, okay, I haven't figured out what yet, but I'll send
That's
one
true.
along.
That way you'd get to kind of lead the discussion when you got back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
John,
Yeah, that's
we'll
what-
need that on our desk at 7 o'clock next Monday night.
Yes, sir. Right away, sir.
Pete's familiar with this because I think that's how he did the big year.
Why did you have to bring that up, Mike?
I'm just picking every opportunity I can to remind you of that one. No. I kind of enjoyed that movie, yeah, and I really enjoyed your presentation even more. That was better than the movie. But
Wishing to get away from that subject as quickly as I can, I do have a side pick. I haven't had one in a while, but watched Jeremy Renner. I'm a huge Jeremy Renner fan. He's got a movie called Wind River. I think it came out in 2017. Is a wildlife ranger up in Wyoming on an Indian reservation. Elizabeth Olsen, the older sister of the Olsen twins, or maybe the younger sister of the Olsen twins, but their sister is in this. She plays an FBI agent. It's a fantastic movie. The scenery is killer, but
That
it's a
sounds
great
so
story.
familiar. Yeah.
And
you know, I may have recommended
highly
that one
recommend
before.
that. I'm sorry.
I may have recommended that one
I
before,
think
but that's
so.
okay. No, but
Yeah,
that's
it's
okay.
good.
That's okay. It was
Yeah.
a long time ago.
Yeah,
It's been out for a few years.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's available on all the normal streaming services.
It's really good. Did you guys do Vengeance?
Who's in it?
Vengeance. Have you guys ever done that?
Who's in Vengeance?
No,
No. Okay. All right. All right. I'm just thinking out loud. I thought someone had recommended it. I kind of remember 100%. Does that ring a bell with anybody? No? Okay. All right. I'll figure out something.
I've got a couple of recommendations and I sent them to Terry. One is Duel. Anyone ever heard of Duel?
Oh, first Spielberg's Duel?
It's Spielberg's first movie. And it
Yes.
stars Dennis Hopper, and
Yep.
he gets chased by this crazed truck driver in a giant
Yes.
tractor trailer rig that tries to kill him.
Yeah.
And nobody believes
That
him when
is
he
so
pulls
good.
over and
Yes.
says, "There's this guy trying to kill me with his truck." Yeah, sure, buddy.
Yeah.
Mike, it was Dennis Weaver, was it not?
Right. That's what I said. Did I say something else?
Yeah.
I thought you said
He
Hopper.
said Hopper.
I'm sorry. I got Dennis Hopper on the brain.
You're in David Lynch mode there.
Yeah.
Right. David Lynch.
Yeah,
No,
no, that's
you're right.
that's a good one. Yeah.
You're
By
right.
the way, I would
Wow.
like to have seen Dennis Hopper as Alvin Strait.
Oh, there you go. I got that mixed up. No, it's Dennis Weaver from Gunsmoke. Right.
Gunsmoke.
Those days.
Yep.
And McLeod.
And McLeod,
Yep.
there you go.
Right. And McLeod.
Now, just so you know, this was it first ran on television and it won a primetime Emmy, but it was not really big in the theaters. It was just something that Spielberg had done and it got his name out there.
Yeah.
Got in primetime. And then my other one was, hell, I can't remember. Terry, do you remember?
Yeah, Stop Making Sense, Talking Heads.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
That's out now and you can rent it. And there's a way to do it on Amazon, which is what I did. You can get a 7-day trial to a thing called Filmbox Plus. Filmbox Plus is a streaming service. And so I signed up for the 7-day trial and then I'll watch it a couple of times and then I'll cancel. But I just thought you guys, I know it's coming to theaters. I know in Tacoma at the Art House here, they're having a big deal where they're going to do it this weekend. And I'm sure it's probably doing that across the country. But those are my two.
Is this the remake?
It's not a remake, it's the original.
They're doing some kind of a remake of one of their things.
This was
True
from
Stories or something like that, maybe.
It was from 1983, 3 nights in a particular venue, and they put it all together and made it what some critics call the best music documentary ever done. But I don't know, they maybe didn't see The Last Waltz.
Yeah, it's really good.
It is good.
True Stories is an interesting movie too.
Yeah. That's
they
good.
did.
Yeah. Yep.
Woman who never gets out of bed.
Yeah, the egg lady too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any?
I
I
throw
just
out,
want to say I have 2 streaming services that I'm paying for that I forgot to cancel after 7 days.
Yeah, we
Well,
all had.
you can cancel on the 8th day. It just will cost you a little bit more, but that doesn't mean you're stuck forever, you know.
Well, I tried to
Talk
cancel Netflix and they gave me a month for free. So I said, okay.
Yeah.
What you do is
that'll
you set a reminder on your phone. Okay,
Right.
cancel Gaia, cancel Netflix, cancel, blah, 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 a
Yeah.
day or two ahead of the time. It's the only way I can remember. And I still don't. So,
Yeah.
I'll throw one out called The Wild Angels. We kind of kicked it
Oh my God, yes.
back when we were doing Easy Rider. I think it's all
Yep.
some of the folks from Easy Rider in there. But anyway, throw that out there. And then I did see that today that the CDs or DVDs from Netflix are going away for good. I don't know if you guys got that too. It seemed like there was somebody in our group that was still getting DVDs. Was it you, Terry?
no.
No. But anyway, and then I finished up with this Winning Time about the LA Lakers.
Uh-huh.
I liked it, but I guess nobody else did. So they ended it like in the 7th episode of the 2nd season, and they really ended it terribly. It was like it ended up being like about Larry Bird instead of Magic Johnson or something, and it's like pretty weird. So don't waste your time. I think it could have been pretty good, but it just didn't end up that way.
I did watch one. Oh God, how can I need Prevagen. The Bulls player, the basketball Bulls player, not Michael Jordan, not Scottie Pippen, the
Dennis
one that
Rodman?
died. The one that died in the car
Kobe
crash with
Bryant.
his daughter.
Kobe.
Who?
Kobe
Kobe
Bryant.
Bryant.
Yeah, Kobe. I think it's called The Muse or My Muse, but it was really good. It was just really good that he did this. I think it's called Muse, if I'm not mistaken. But it was just a really interesting, sport. It's sports, but it's way more than that too. But it was good. It was good. And this Vengeance, if you guys want to watch it, it's really good too. I might pick that one. I'm not sure. I think you might have to pay for that one. So I'll try to find a free one.
Oh, that's all right. We pay all the time.
Yeah, we pay all the time.
I saw that. That was good. I didn't I just looked it up to see what it is. That was good.
Yeah,
Yes, that was
it is a good
movie.
one. It is.
Yeah.
Russell
Yeah.
Crowe.
Pardon me?
I'm sorry.
On with Russell Crowe.
No,
No.
it's got BJ Novak from The Office. It has
From The Office.
Ashton Kutcher in there,
Yeah, I think
Yes.
and
You've seen it too.
that was a good movie.
Well, then
Yeah.
I'll just say it out if you guys don't mind. Then let's do that one for week after next.
All right,
All right.
I'll move it up.
Sounds good.
So
And I wanted to tell Jeff, I went back to start Foundation over again to see where I left off. And I never made it past part 1. So I guess I wasn't ready for that. But I have been watching The Changeling on Apple TV, and I made it to episode, I think it's 6, and they only have 7, so I'm getting close to
Close to the end.
crossing that one off my list. But it is very interesting. It's basically
Okay.
about a guy who meets a woman, and they have a baby, and she wants to kill the baby. It's basically how it starts. And there's all this.
That sounds like a fun time.
Yeah.
It's a
Well,
feel good story.
It's one of those feel good things. It's a horror flick. But if you run a good horror flick, though, is Duel. If you haven't seen Duel,
Yeah,
it's
that's
worth it.
very good. And I did see A Haunting in Venice. That's the one that's at the movies now. It's not streaming yet. That will be. That's the one with Hercule Poirot. Kenneth Branagh plays Hercule again, another Agatha Christie. and Tina Fey is in it, and who else? Anyway, it's kind of like an old time horror, but it takes place in Venice, and it's just gorgeous. Venice at night, beautiful, and it takes place about 1947. But I thought it was good. If you like Hercule, Poirot, if you like that kind of Sherlock Holmes, detective that is just like, crazy detective, but it's kind of like
the writer's strike is over.
Yes, I
Is
hope.
it?
Yeah, the
I
writer's
hope
strike,
so.
they reached a tentative agreement with Hollywood producers. However, it's still tentative. And then
Yeah.
how can you keep going? How can the writers go off strike if they're going to support the actors who are still on strike?
Right.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah, well,
very
the big
hard.
strike is the big strike is the UAW, and President Biden is actually going to go there and stand with those
And
guys.
stand with them. Yeah.
No president has ever done that. They babble a bunch of crap about how the workers and everything, but none of them have ever gone out and shown their support.
But Trump is now doing that. Oh, they pretending like he supports them. He doesn't, but he's pretending, and he's doing some sort of get together with the unions. So
Mike, are you saying that the writers' strike really doesn't matter because the actors aren't coming back anyway?
Well, no, I'm saying there's still a bunch of unresolved issues. It's a
Right.
tentative agreement, so that could still change in the next few days. But then they've got to figure out how to, what I read is the immediate reaction is your talk shows, Colbert, Jimmy Kimmel, and those. They need the writers to write their jokes.
Right.
So they can do that. So they can go back and they can start doing what they do. But then can you have an actor on that's promoting a movie? No actor is going to do that. So they're going to have to figure out different kinds of people to have on. They'll have, people like, I don't know, Oprah or whatever, as opposed to your typical, I'm pushing my book, I'm pushing my movie.
Right. Right.
Well, have the late night TV shows, have they been reruns?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
They
all
have
reruns.
All reruns.
For how
all
long?
reruns. Yeah.
Ever since the strike.
Has it been months?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been 140 days or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then those five guys, the five talk show hosts, do a podcast, which I've only seen it on CBS Sunday Morning. I'd like to just check it out sometime, but they've been doing a podcast and having commercials and raising money to give to the writers and the actors. So that the folks
people
that
that
work
need it,
for them can feed their kids and stuff.
Yeah.
So
good idea.
It's not very often that those guys get together behind something. They're usually in competition with each other. But Colbert, Colbert's a member of the writers' union. He's one of the few that is. But I think it's just going to take some time for it to all hammer out. But I think it's on its way. I hope.
Yeah.
Don't know that, but I hope.
Well, I have to run.
I do too.
All right.
Okay, you guys.
Well, thanks so much, gang. Hey, Jeff.
I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Before you go, Jeff, what's the story on your friend from Webster?
Yeah, I wrote him an email a few days ago, like 3 or 4 days ago, and never heard back from him. So I think he's interested, but I don't know what his how he operates. Hi, Donna.
Hi.
So I'll just wait to see if he responds. I sent him the link so he can connect with us if he wants to.
Okay.
All
Just
right.
curious.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
All right. See you, everybody.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Go on, Terry.
Good night. Yeah, it was great, Terry. Thanks.